miss you too. Hello, my name is John, and I'm an alcoholic. John. Please join me in the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I want to remind everyone here in the room that this meeting is being live streamed on our website. Speakers and readers should have releases with us to be on camera. If you haven't signed one, please see me or Liz. We turn the camera off during sharing. Speakers only are recorded for our speaker library. Welcome to the FBRS Tuesday night alumni speaker meeting. Let us go around the room and introduce ourselves, beginning on our right.
Hamid, I'm an addict.
Hamid.
Grant, addict.
Grant. Cassell. Jacqueline. Isabella. Andrew. Dalton. Alfie. William. Jamal. Billy. Scott. Lester. Jesse. Joe. Anthony. Eric. Brian. David. Chris. Bree. George. Kevin. Sean. Chris. Jesse. Joe. Sunshine.
My name is Matt. I'm an addict.
Matt.
Liz, alcoholic.
Liz. Roxy. Isaiah. Paco. Devin. Tom? Tom. Jose. Go ahead, Tom.
My name is Tom. I'm a grateful member of Alcoholics Anonymous.
Tom.
Zach.
Rick. Darren.
My name is Jack. I'm an addict.
Jack.
My family, I'm an addict. My name is Ben.
Emmanuel.
Brett, addict.
Brett.
Robert, addict.
Robert.
Nathaniel.
Joe addict. Joe.
Enrique, addict.
Enrique.
Eddie, addict.
Eddie.
Marco.
Chris.
Brandon, addict.
Brandon.
Gino, addict.
Gino.
Keyshawn, addict.
Sean.
Michael, alcoholic, addict.
Michael. And I am John, and I am an addict. Welcome, everybody. All right, is there anybody here attending their first alumni meeting tonight? If so, welcome. You are the most important person here. It's you.
My name is Brandon. I'm a member of Narcotics Anonymous.
Thanks, Brandon. Welcome. It's your first one? I don't believe you. We kindly ask your cooperation in making this a good experience for all who wish to hear the message. Please respect the speakers and the meeting by not talking during the readings or while people are sharing. Excuse me. During the break, feel free to help yourselves to coffee, water, and snacks. I have asked Grant to read what is the NA program. Grant?
What is a Narcotics Anonymous? I'm Grant.
Who are you?
I'm an addict. I'm Grant, I'm an addict. What is a Narcotics Anonymous program? It is a nonprofit fellowship or society of men and women for whom drugs have become a major problem. We're recovering addicts who meet regularly to help each other stay clean. This is a program of complete abstinence from all drugs. There's only one requirement for membership: the desire to stop using. We suggest that you keep an open mind and give yourself a break. Our program is a set of principles written so simply that we can follow them in our daily lives. The most important thing about them is that they work. There are no strings attached to NA. We are not affiliated with any other organizations. We have no initiation fees or dues, no pledges to sign, no promises to make to anyone. We are connected. We are not connected with any political, religious, or law enforcement groups and are under no surveillance at any time. Anyone may join us regardless of age, race, sexual identity, creed, religion, or lack of religion. We are not interested in what or how much you used or who your connections were, what you have done in the past, how much or how little you have, but only in what you want to do about your problem and how we can help. The newcomer is the most important person at any meeting because we can only keep what we have by giving it away. We have learned from our group experience that those who keep coming to our meetings regularly stay clean.
Thank you. I have asked Brendan to read Why Are We Here?
My name is Brandon. I'm a member of Narcotics Anonymous. Why are we here? Before coming to the fellowship of NA, we could not manage our own lives. We could not live and enjoy life as other people do. We had to have something different, and we thought we had found it in drugs. We placed their use ahead of the welfare of our families, our wives, husbands, and our children. We had to have drugs at all costs. We did many people great harm, but most of all, we harmed ourselves. Through our inability to accept personal responsibilities, we are actually creating our own problems. We seem to be incapable of facing life on its own terms. Most of us realized that our addiction, we were slowly committing suicide. But addiction is such a cunning enemy of life that we had lost the power to do anything about it. Many of us ended up in jail or sought help in medicine, religion, psychiatry. None of these methods was sufficient for us. Our disease was always resurfaced or continued to progress until in desperation we sought help from each other and Narcotics Anonymous. After coming to NA, we realized we were sick people. We suffered from a disease from which there is no known cure. It can, however, be arrested at some point, and recovery is then possible. Thank you.
I have asked Keyshawn to read how it works.
Good afternoon. My name's Keyshawn. I'm an addict. How it works. If you want what we have to offer and are willing to make the effort to get it, then you are ready to take certain steps. These are the principles that made our recovery possible. 1, we admitted that we are powerless over our addiction, that our lives have become unimaginable. 2, we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3, we made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. 4, we made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5, we admitted to God, to ourselves, and to other human beings the exact nature of our wrongs. 6, we were entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. 7, we humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings. 8, we made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. 9, we made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10, we continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. 11, we sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscience contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry it out. 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry His message to addicts and to practice these principles in all our affairs. This sounds like a big order, and we can't do it all at once. We didn't become an addict in one day, so remember, easy does it. There is one thing more than anything else that will defeat us in our recovery. This is an attitude of indifference or intolerance towards spiritual principles. Three of these that are indispensable are honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness. With these, we are all well on our way. We feel that our approach to the disease of addiction is completely realistic. For the therapeutic value of one addict helping another is without peril. We feel that our way is practical for one addict. For one addict can society for when one addict best understand, help another addict. We believe that the sooner we face our problems within our society and everyday living, just that much faster do we become acceptable, responsible, and productive members of that society. The only way to keep from returning to active addiction is not to take the first drug. If you are like us, you know that one is too many and 1,000 is never enough. We put great emphasis on this, for we know that when we use drugs in any form or substitute for one another, we release our addiction all over again. Thinking of alcohol as different from other drugs has caused a great many addicts to relapse. before we came to NA. Many of us viewed alcohol separately, but we cannot afford to be confused about this. Alcohol is a drug. We are people with the disease of addiction who must abstain from all drugs in order to recover. Thank you.
Thank you, Keyshawn. Good job. While we observe the 12 traditions, I've asked Robert to read the 12 traditions of Narcotics Anonymous.
My name is Robert. I'm an addict. 12 traditions of NA. Our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends upon AA unity. Number 2, for our group purpose, there is but one ultimate authority, a loving God, as he may express himself in our group conscience. Our leaders are but servants, they do not govern. Number 3, the only requirement for AA membership is a desire to stop using. Number 4, each group should be autonomous except in matters affecting other groups or NA as a whole. Number 5, each group has but one primary purpose, to carry its message to the addict who still suffers. Number 6, an NA group, I'll never endorse, finance, or lend a NA name to any related facility or outside enterprise. These problems of money, property, or prestige divert us from our primary purpose. Number 7, every NA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. Number 8, Narcotics Anonymous should remain forever non-professional, but our service centers may employ special workers. Number 9, NA as such ought never be organized, but we may create service boards or committees directly responsible to those they serve. Number 10, Narcotics Anonymous has no opinion on outside issues, hence the NA name will never be drawn into public controversy. Number 11, our public relations policy is based on attraction rather than promotion. We need always maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, or films. Number 12, anonymity is a spiritual foundation of all our traditions, ever reminding us to place
Thank you, Robert. Our format for this meeting is a 10-minute speaker, followed by our main speaker, chips, and birthdays, and an opportunity for sharing. I would like to introduce Kevin, our 10-minute speaker.
Alrighty. What's up, guys? So, okay. All right. So I was born in Phoenix, Arizona. Oh yeah, Kevin, addict. I was born in Phoenix, Arizona. Me and my dad and mom moved out to California and then Oregon, kind of back and forth. And around like 4 years old, I got taken into foster care over some stuff that happened. And me and my brothers got lucky enough to go to the same house. But the lady that we came there to was just awful, extremely psychotic. And as soon as I got there, she kind of got in the heads of the doctors and went there and told the people before we went that we were a lot more messed up than we were. So they gave me like Adderall and all sorts of different medications, starting at way too young to be diagnosed with anything. And I stayed there for about 3.5 years, and I guess somehow my mom had made a deal with the courts and the Department of Human Services, CPS, that if my brothers got separated, I would be able to have contact with her. So I mean, I bounced in so many different homes till I met this lady named Joyce, and she wanted to adopt me, and that's where I met my best friend. I kind of got adopted, not like legally, but in name only. Like my best friend, he's still my best friend. I've known him for 22 years now, 23 years. And at 11 years old, I got taken into this place called Proctor Care because I started playing with matches and lighting shit on fire. I liked fire a lot when I was a kid. I think it gave me some sort of sense of control. But I went to a couple different homes. By the time I was 13, my mom managed to convince them to let me go live with her in California, or in the Bay Area, over in, I think it was Pleasant Hill. And so, first time I got there, I mean, I was really messed up. I think that I was emotionally stunted a lot, and so I was lashing out in ways I couldn't really understand at the time. She just couldn't take it. So luckily Joyce, who was the lady I met when I was 7, I lived with her for 3 years, she let me go back and live with her again. And I went to Aloha, Oregon, Beaverton, Oregon, and I met some kids I met this kid named Jeremy who was like a huge pothead, like punk, and he was older than me, and he'd introduced me to marijuana, and I loved that shit. I was on like probably 8 or 9 different pills by that point, and so I just stopped taking them all. I was like, fuck that. Sorry. And I decided marijuana was my medicine, and that's what I wanted to do. So I did that for 3 years. I started skipping school and hanging out in trap houses. When I was 15, I met this guy. He lived in a garage, and I remember the house always smelled like fabric softener. So every time I smelled that, I remember it. But for some reason, he thought I was cool. I guess because I was really chill for my age. It's because I was fucked up, not because I was chill. But one day I went to a party and I got kicked out because I took a bunch of Delsum and I drank and smoked weed, and I was so screwed up I couldn't, I was walking around with one eye open. And he invited me over to hang out, and he pulled out a meth pipe and he was like, "You want to try this?" And I was like, I don't really want to do that, but he's like, "Yeah, it'll sober you up and you can go back home afterwards." And I was like, okay. So I smoked it and I burned the shit out of it, and then and I was like, he's like, don't. He's like, "You take that back." He's like, "Don't do that." And I next thing I know, I was playing video games for 3 days straight. I didn't even leave the TV. I was just sitting there, and it was weird. I remember, I think I might have fallen asleep or something, with my eyes open, because I started dreaming about the game. But anyway, I went home. My mom was or Joyce called, or she kind of adopted me, so I call her my mom too. I went back to her house, and she already had put a police report in that I was missing. And that stuff happened until, I was 16 and a half actually, and then she said I couldn't take it anymore. She tried to send me to a rehab. It was called DePaul over in Oregon, and I went there twice. So when I was 16, I went there, and I got kicked out because I just didn't care about it. I was just being troublesome. And then I went to my actual mom's in the Bay Area, and it was just kind of rough. She was working 2 jobs, so she never was really around. And that's when I saw my brother again. And they were living with that lady for 11 years, so they're a lot more screwed up than me. Eric, my oldest brother, is sociopathic now. And by the time I was 17, I went back. I convinced my mom, and I convinced myself that I could go back to Oregon and live with my friend. And his parents were like, "Yeah, it's chill." But his mom had a tumor on her leg, so she couldn't leave the room, and the dad was working all the time. So it was just another trap house, basically, with more structure, I guess. And one day I decided to go with my friends to try to find weed. Went to one of my friends' houses, and I picked up a shoe, and I decided to light it on fire because I thought it'd be funny. So I put it in the middle of the porch, where it wouldn't burn anything. But this other chick that was with me was really, really, really hated that girl, so she kicked the shoe up against the wall, and I was already gone by that point. So I guess that the chick Daniela came back and saw it was burning her wall outside of her house, so she called the cops and tried to charge me. I ended up talking to the detective, and he asked me what happened. He was going to charge me with 2 felonies, but he ended up giving me like reckless burning and criminal mischief. So that happened, and then towards the end of the year, like 3 days before my birthday, me and one of my friends decided to go steal some clothes from TJ Maxx, and I was really, really drunk. I was drinking and doing keg stands in the park prior to that, and I got arrested. I had pushed the security guard through the door, and I guess he got hurt. But either way, I went to juvie, and I was in juvie for my birthday, and on probation. I spent the end of my 17 on probation, and this actually goes faster than I thought it would. It's crazy. But yeah, you know, I kind of realized I didn't want to ever be locked up again, so I tried my best after that to stay out of trouble. But I did party still. I went to raves and festivals, and I didn't really go to people's houses anymore to party. It was like one-on-one, smoke with my friends and stuff. And then in my early 20s, I worked as a framer, and I did like every labor job I could find. The longest one, I did commercial wood framing for like 2.5 years. And then by like my 25, 26, I started to get really, really into acid and psychedelics. And I started to not care after. I just had like this huge weight of depression. I started to realize I was dealing with everything that happened to me growing up. And I didn't really care for the feeling, but drugs didn't help. They just made it worse. It made everything worse, like my mental state especially. So I got the opportunity to move to New Mexico when I was 26 and take care of an old family friend. And I'd known him for like 20 years already. 29 at the time, 19 years. And I only took care of him for about 6 months. I was able to work as a caregiver for him and live there and go to school. And he passed away in January 2022. So that was really hard on me too, because I'd move all the way out to New Mexico and said goodbye to everyone I knew to live with them and take care of them. And so I decided to stay out there for 2 more years and go to school. And then at the end, I was 1 semester from graduating, 3 classes. I decided to come out to LA to party, because by that point I was so like bored. I started to do drugs again. Like I didn't really do meth until I was like 26, 27. And from there I just started doing drugs every day. And then when I got out here, like my girlfriend had a lot of people that she knew that did drugs, and she was kind of in the same boat. She went through a lot of shit and didn't really care either about her well-being. So we just partied out here, and I made the stupid decision to bring my gun from New Mexico. So I had a Glock 19. It was fully loaded in the car and our drugs, and we were giving a drug dealer a ride, and he decided to snitch on. I think he called the cops or something weird, because we were just sitting there, and then like 7 sheriff vans rolled up. So long story short, I went to jail. Ended up in rehab. Ended up here at Fred Brown. But while I was in jail, I decided that I wasn't gonna try to. I kind of just like told God I was never gonna do fentanyl again. Like if we could do anything to guide me on the right path again, I wouldn't just try to ruin my life like I had been doing. So there's still a lot I wanted to do. And so it was the option to go to Salvation Army or here. And my lawyer was like, "Nah, you're not going to Salvation Army. You're going to Fred Brown." And I was like, "What the heck is that?" All right, whatever. I honestly thought that it was gonna be like some old man I was gonna take care of at a little house or something like that. I really did. I was like, but I don't know. I was like, whatever, you know, as long as I can get sober and get my life together. But yeah, you know, I've been here, like, it actually felt like, it's weird, it felt like a really, really long time for me. Like, this is really the first time I've been sober since I was like 4 or 5, and off something. If it wasn't weed, it was something else. And like, now that I'm at the end, it feels like it's going faster and faster. It's a really weird feeling. But I'm learning a lot. I didn't really think I would be able to absorb the information because of my experience with rehabs in the past. But, you know, I feel more peaceful. I feel clear-headed, and I feel like I'm gaining my interest in things that I didn't really think I would ever care about again. Like towards the end of school, I didn't care about it at all anymore, but that's what fentanyl will do for you. And yeah, no, just being here around people. I never thought I would be in LA in my whole life, honestly. I ended up here. I guess I needed to come here. But I'm thankful. I'm thankful for my experience. And I look forward to going to RBH. And I can't believe it's already the end. Like 2 weeks ago, it felt like every day was a week. Now it feels 10 times faster. But well, Matt and Jim were really patient with me. And Jim was funny, it always made me laugh. He'd be like, you're fucked up, but you know, you're not that fucked up, you know what I mean? And I was like, all right. So there's hope for me, you know. But but yeah. Where am I at? How many minutes? Like, yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Fred Brown. Thank you, Roxy.
Thank you for sharing your story, Kevin. I heard a lot of resilience and courage in there, man. Keep it up. Let's take a 10-minute break before our next speaker. Incognito. All right, everybody, welcome back. Let's start off the second half of the meeting with the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I would like to now introduce our main speaker, my hero, Matthew M.
He had to sprinkle that on there. I love that. All right. Love you too. I always like to take a minute to try and separate myself, invite God into the room, ask him to remove everything that I got going on, right, so I can better do his will, right? Take my self-doubt, the negativity, right, like everything that I think or feel about myself, take that out the window, man, and just allow me to share my truth, and honestly, from my heart, to be able to deliver a message of strength and hope. So my name is Matt, and I'm an addict. Matt! I have a clean date of February 15th, 2019. I have a sponsor that has a sponsor that's actually looking for a different sponsor because my grand sponsor just had a stroke not that long ago. I have a home group. I'm of service to that home group. I actively work steps. I go to meetings, and I do not use no matter what. And those are some of the things, man, that you get to do around here, right, the longer you stay. It's a trip, man, right? Like, I'm just going to kind of jump right into it, and I will apologize ahead of time because when I get passionate, I cuss. I'm a work in progress, right? So if I say some things that might offend you, keep coming back, right? And I also suffer from a bunch of different like self-diagnosed isms, right? Like I'm a little autistic. I'm self-diagnosed, right? Like ADHD, Tourette's, like all kinds of different things. You know what I mean? So again, bear with me, right? Like if some of the shit is kind of to the left and to the right, and then right on point, and then like, oh shit, here we go again. You know, it's because of that, right? And I warned you, so you know, there's that. So, and you guys are all committed to being in this meeting. So here we go, right? I suffer from a disease, man, that wants to separate myself, you know, from everything that I know that is good, and that's you guys, right? That's God, that's family, that's my integrity, that's my honesty. That's my truth, my trust, the positive, like all the good things, man, in the world. I suffer from a disease that tries to separate and isolate myself from it, and tries to tell me that I'm a piece of shit and I will never amount to nothing. The crazy part is, right, that it's actively working on me right now. Actively working on me right now. I have conversated with some of you guys outside on the break and before the meeting started. You know, if you're in residential where I work, you know, then I've probably kind of disclosed a little bit here and there. But the nervousness, right? Yes, I have 6 years clean, you know what I mean? But I still get nervous like I'm still day one. Because again, like I suffer from a disease that tells me that I don't have nothing to fucking say. I have no story, I have no experience, I have no strength, I have no hope, you know, for self. So like, what do I look like coming up here and giving it to, you know, to you guys? You ain't got shit. Sit the fuck down. But I have a solution today. Today I have a solution, right? And that's a lot of the things that I included, right? Like when I first started sharing. I have a conscious contact with a higher power, who I choose to call whatever I want to call it. Depending on the day. Sometimes it's God, sometimes it's higher power, sometimes it's a God of my understanding, sometimes it's, you know, whatever the fuck it is, right? Because it's what I believe in. It's what I believe in, but it wasn't always like that. I was raised Catholic, and so, you know, I was told how things work, right? Like, this is who God is, right? This is what we do. This is how we pray. This is what happens, right? Like if you steal from the store. This is what happens if you don't count your blessings. This is what happens if you don't eat all the food on your plate. This is what happens when you don't respect your elders, right? This is what happens if you're not good, you know, if you don't obey, you know, and do this and do that. And I was a kid at the time, so I didn't give a shit. You know what I mean? Whatever, cool, woo. This is what we're doing. But later on in life, right? Like I get to a point to where like I have the ability to be able to start to think for self, right? And I'm curious, right? I'm an only child, mind you. I'm an only child, no siblings, no brothers, no sisters, biologically, none of that shit, right? So me and my own devices, and I'm a sheltered child. Mom is a single mom. I think I had my dad in the house maybe once, and that was the only memory that I remember of my mom and my dad in the same home. I was underneath a blanket, and I remember taking the blanket off over my head, and my dad had my mom in the threshold from the living room to the bedroom up on the wall, and they both looked at me and stopped, and that was the only memory I remember of my mom and my dad in the same home. My mom was an addict before me, during me, and all the way up until the day that she passed, Christmas Eve of 2019, when I was 10 months clean. My dad still smokes weed here and there, you know, actively using way back when. So I'm a product, man. You know, I'm a product of two addicts. And so, again, mom was, she tried to support her habit and support me at the same time. So all she did was work, work, work. So that means Matthew was raised by his grandparents. And they were older, right? Obviously, grandparents. So I would go to school, mom would drop me off, grandpa would pick me up, I would be at grandpa's house, mom would get off work, she would pick me up, I would go home, and I would repeat. And that's what it looked like all the way up until 6th grade. And so I really didn't know too much, right? I didn't know outside life. All I wanted and longed for was the attention and the love and the happiness, right? Like, and just the kids being kids kind of thing. But I wasn't allowed to do, right? Like, because again, I was sheltered. So like, where I went to school, which was in Bellflower, because that's where mom had her apartment. I'm born and raised in Long Beach, by the way. But yeah, right. Whoop. But my mom had an apartment, right? Like in Bellflower. And so like that's where I went to school. And then like after school, Grandpa would pick me up and I would go to Long Beach, right? Like so like kids in the neighborhood in Long Beach, right? Like they didn't recognize who I was, right? Like because I didn't go to school there. I was the weirdo that lived there, right? Like from whatever fucking time elementary gets out, till 8 or 9 at night. Right? And then like I wasn't able to make friends with kids at school, right? Like because I never hung out after school, right? Like I immediately got into the car with grandfather and then he took me home. So again, I don't know what the fuck is going on, right? Like I'm just kind of bumping into shit, right? Until I'm in 6th grade. Reason why I'm mentioning all this, right, is because I have come so far from that little scared, wanting love and attention like little boy, and yet like I still walk through this door, right? Like in my disease tries to use all of you as a way to get me to not share. The majority of this room, right, requested that Nancy asked me to speak, and I appreciate you, Nancy, and everybody in this room that took part, and even just by being here, because this is how I get out of self, right? I absolutely do not, right, like want to get up here and share, right, because it's fucking nerve-wracking, and I'm one of those guys, right, that thinks about all the cool shit to fucking say, and then as soon as I say my name, all that shit goes out the window. And so what do I do, right? Like I tell on self. I was taught, right, like to tell on self. And so like I walk into this room, right, and it tries to tell me, right, like again, how I explained to you guys, like you have nothing to fucking say. You have nothing to share. You're no good, right? Like you're super negative, right? Like fucking suck, right? Like get the fuck out of here, and then it takes another step further, right? Like and it goes into my deepest, darkest thoughts, right? Only things that I know, right? Like dude, what kind of experience do you have to share? You're still on your 4th step. 2nd year, mind you.
That's okay.
Right? And it is okay.
Yeah.
Right? But then again, like I said, it utilizes, right, like everything that I know, right, that is good, and everything that I've come to know that helps me get to myself in a day-to-day basis, right, like it tries to utilize that shit, and it talks to me in my own voice, and it tells me, like, you've been on your fucking 4th step, right, like for 2 fucking years, like you don't deserve to be up there, right, like you can only share your own experience and where you're at, and you've been on your 4th step for 2 years. You call your sponsor once a week. Yeah, you committed, right, like to going to more meetings on a weekly basis, but yet you've regressed back to 1. Yes, I have a commitment. Yes, I show up to my commitment. Yes, I show up to my home group. Yes, I love the atmosphere of recovery. All that shit, right? Like, but again, right? Like I suffer from a disease, right? That manifests itself. It does the step work that I do, right? Don't you can believe what you want to believe. By all means, whatever keeps you here, right? I don't give a shit, because that's the way it was told to me. Sit down, shut the fuck up, and listen. Work steps or die. That's the way it was told to me. So, if you believe your disease is doing push-ups in the parking lot, by all means. That's okay, right? You have the ability and the freedom to believe in whatever you want to believe in, right? But for me, again, it's working on me right now. It's up here while I share. It's with me day in and day out. It prays with me. It guides my pen as I sit there, right? Like and try to attempt to do step work before, as long as I don't pray, right? Like if I don't pray before I do step work, my disease is guiding the pen, because I haven't given it to God. I haven't stepped into a space where I allow a power greater than me to be able to help me tell on self, right? Because I know that if I'm in control, I'm gonna fucking lie, and that's the truth. Long history of this shit, man. It started from me being an only child. Lying, right? Manipulating my way to get what I want. I'm an only child. I'm a spoiled little shit. You know what I mean? I didn't know mom was an addict, right? Like, and she would enable me, right? Like, and try to give me and compensate, right, for her, like, not being there. You know what I mean? But all I knew is that I was getting cool shit. And so I did it. Manipulated my way. I didn't even know what manipulation was. I just wanted love and attention, right? And then again, I grew up and I was able to think for myself, right? And I was able to start putting two and two together and start making this shit move. Same with Grandpa. No, rest in peace. I tried. He was the one good thing, man, that I didn't take advantage of. And I say that, right, like because he's an old soul, man. He's been around the block, and he was a man that I knew that I could go to him and ask any question, and he would know the answer. There was no question he couldn't give you an answer to, and I took that for granted. I didn't take advantage of having that individual in my life. I took it for granted. I used his money, I used his love, I used his expectations, I used his hope, I used his morals, I used his respect, right? Like to gain what the fuck I wanted. God, how are you going to get me out of this one? Oh, you provided me with a grandpa that's going to provide for the money for my lawyer, right? Like, so that way he could do what he does, right? Like, and good luck on that felony sticking. Because don't you know I got one of the top 10 defense attorneys in the state to represent me on some bullshit? Just because grandpa and mom didn't want to see me have to get locked up because they know what I was going to do, right? Once I got jumped into a neighborhood. So 6th grade, we moved. We lost our apartment in Bellflower. Had to move back in with grandma and grandpa, and I got my first good dose of some like reality, you know, something that I wanted for so long, and that's to go outside and play, right? But little did I know, man, going outside and playing was going to be a whole nother ball game. We're not going out playing kickball. You know what I mean? We're not ding-dong ditching. You know, we're not riding bikes. We're not going to the jungle gym. You know what I mean? We're not playing hopscotch. You know what I mean? Let's go over here. We're going to hang out in front of the house. You know what I mean? We're going to go play grab ass. You know what I mean? We're going to go, we're going to smoke some weed. We're going to try and see what kind of mischief we can get into. You know, and I was introduced, man, you know what I mean, to a lifestyle. They say, like, if the drugs don't get you, the lifestyle will. I'm a product of both. I'm here to tell you right now I'm a product of both. And that's how it went. You know? And still yet, I tried to fit in, man. No matter what I did, I just wanted to be accepted, and I just wanted to be loved. One of my main higher powers, one of the biggest higher powers that are greater than me is fear. And I'm a firm believer in anything that can do for me what I cannot do for myself is a power greater than me. And fear is one of the doozies. Top 3, for sure. Because fear, man, if you stay around here long enough and you do enough work, you'll be able to take, like, you know, money, you know, or whatever power you think is greater than you, and you go into the how and the why, right? You get into the how and the why, right? Like, and as long as if you travel that road long enough, you'll be able to get to the root. And for me, a lot of the root is fear. And so again, right? Like, here I go, trying to make friends, trying to be accepted. You know, I'm really good at soccer, and I'm really fucking smart, right? Like, as long as it didn't come to history or science, dude, I could give you A+ all day. And all this other shit, right? Boom, boom, boom. Trying to do whatever I can to just be accepted and make a name for myself, if you will. I just wanted friends, and I just wanted to hang out. Didn't know that it was going to turn out to be the way that it is. Worst habit that I've ever incorporated into my life or picked up is ditching. Ditching is probably the worst habit that I've ever picked up because I cannot get back those years of my life, right? I can't get back the freshman year. I can't get back the sophomore year. I don't even know what junior and senior year looked like, right? Like, because by that time I had already been shot, had 2 kids, dropped out, got shot, had 2 kids, and been locked up at least 3 times. By the time I was 18. And I'm not talking about like a drunk tank. I'm not talking about turnarounds. I'm not talking about you know, fucking sight and release type shit. You know, all of them had potential for me to do long term. But again, like I said, I had a grandfather that loved me enough to put up the money to pay for a kick-ass lawyer, right? Like that I was going to get that shit reduced, and I'll see you in some months. And I regret it. I really do. The difference is today I don't let the regret take over my life. You know, I live in acceptance, and I tell my guys, if you're in my group or whatever, you know, and you haven't heard it yet, again, hold on to your seat, because it's a wild ride, but it's fun, and I'll get to it, you know what I mean, when we get to it. But like there are levels to acceptance, man. We start to learn acceptance. We start to have acceptance. We get a kind of a concept or an idea of what acceptance is. I'm at a point where I am living in acceptance, and that's the only way that I could deal with this, right? And I'm not talking about you guys. I'm talking about outside of me, and even me, because I'm my biggest critic. You know, people, places, and things, man. You know, the Serenity Prayer, I mean, it's right in front of our eyes, man. You know, people, places, and things. I can't control that shit. But again, I'm a people pleaser. I'm codependent as fuck. You know, I'm a fear-driven individual. All I want is love and attention, and all these things, right? And so, like, as long as I can get this to work, you know what I mean, or mold this to what I want it to be or need it to be, then everything will be all right. You know, I've beaten myself up over the head trying to figure out answers to questions that don't exist. It's a pain in the ass. You know, living in an addict brain. Because I second guess everything. Again, I suffer from a disease, man, that tries to use anything and everything to try and separate myself from, you know, the solution. And I want to apologize to my amazing fiance back there, because, you know, we're trying to plan our wedding, and so we ran into a hiccup as far as the venue goes, and she has the right idea, right? Like in between the break, to try to disclose, right, like all the information that she just found on this other venue, right? And I could barely fucking keep my shit together. They have this, and they do this, and they do this, and and I love her to death. Don't get me wrong. I fucking love her to death. I'm extremely blessed to have a woman like her in my life. You know what I mean? But I'm just hanging on by a fucking thread, man. You know? And I can barely keep myself from wanting to throw up. I don't even want to go outside, because if I go outside, I'm going to hit my vape, right? And if I hit my vape, that feeling's going to come back up, and I don't want to fucking vomit. You know, it's gross. But that's what my disease, right? My disease is like, dude, fuck this lady, right? Right? Real talk. But that's not how I feel, right? But I want to, like, the anger, the frustration, the irritation, the resentment, right, that wants to start to fester and build, right? Because don't you know what the fuck I'm going through? How many times, right, like, have I lived with, like, don't you know what the fuck I'm going through? No, you don't, because you're not a mind reader. And I made decisions, and I've ruined relationships, and I walked this life, right, like, before I got clean at the age of 28, right, like, based on those feelings. Whether I don't want to feel them, you know what I mean, or you know, or feeling it, and whatever the case may be, right? Like in our Just for Today, I'm actually going to read it because it makes a lot of fucking sense right now, and so I'm going to use it. In active addiction, things happen seemingly without rhyme or reason. We just did things often without knowing why or what the results would be. Life had little value or meaning. And that's all the shit that I'm talking about right now. Again, I don't know about you guys, but for me, I had no fucking clue. I had no clue what I was doing. I didn't know, I mean, I knew right from wrong, right? Like, but I didn't know any other way. I didn't know any other way. This is the way I was raised. I didn't have anybody telling me, sorting out the craziness, telling me, oh, this is sadness, this is blah, 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 all that shit, right? Like, I didn't have anybody to help filter through what the hell I'm experiencing, right? Yet alone have the courage to be able to talk about this is how I fucking feel. Good luck. Even at 3 years clean, fuck you, good luck. 6 years clean, fuck you, good luck. You know, there are some things that I still, right, like, and I am unwilling to surrender. And that's advanced level shit, right? I just fucking learned that, like, this last year. Unsurrendered? Unwilling? What the fuck is that shit? Right? What are you talking about? I've already done the first step, right? I already know I got a fucking problem. I'm batshit crazy, right? I'm nuts. I know my life's unmanageable. You know, look where I'm at. Look where it got me, right? I get the bright idea. We all get bright ideas, you know? And still, you know, I had no idea. No idea what the fuck that meant. And thank God, man, for this program. If you're in Alcoholics Anonymous, if you identify as an alcoholic, you identify as an addict, you identify as a whatever, you know, you have earned your way here. You know, me personally, I'm an active member of Narcotics Anonymous. I use the language of clean and recovery and, you know, what we do. And that's not in any kind of way disrespect or blatantly to offend anybody or nothing like that. It's just the program that I chose and that what works for me. You know, whatever works for you works for you. And I encourage you, man. I highly, highly encourage you to get into this step work and because, like, once you start to figure shit out, you know, it's hard to stop it. It's hard to stop, right? Like, once you start to figure shit out, you know, but it starts with, like, admitting that you're powerless and that you're unmanageable. Your life is unmanageable and on a daily basis. Because I am guilty of taking my will back, right? Thinking that, like, everything's all good and gravy, right? Like, and I have a conscious contact with the higher power that lets me know, with a sense of humor, dude, you're fucking up. And that's why I said you can believe in whatever you want to believe in. I don't even care, whatever you're comfortable with, by all means, because you're gonna fucking need that shit. My God cusses. You know what I mean? He has he skates. He wears chucks. He has long hair. He has tattoos. You know what I mean? He has a dark sense of humor. But he's merciful. He's loving. He's graceful. You know, and he's never let me down, even when I didn't even know he was there. He does. He does. Who am I to tell him how to do? Hey, by all means, go do you. Thank you for showing me the way, right? Oh, you like to skate? Me too. Fuck yeah, I'll pray to you. I'm extremely blessed, man, to have the life that I do today. And thank God for the people that came before me to be able to show me the way just in time and the way that I needed to hear it in order for me to receive it the way that I did. Because, man, you guys are fucking warriors, man. You know, for those of you that got clean during COVID, dude, I don't even have a hat on because I respect you so much. Because that shit's hard, man. I wish I could tell you that I am a perfect person. I wish I could tell you that, like, you have the ability to work a perfect program just to be able to install some hope. But, you know, that's not the fucking truth, man. My hope comes from letting you know that you're going to fucking make mistakes and not use because of it. My hope comes from making mistakes, right? Like, and knowing that I don't have to use, even if I want to, right? And that hope, right, like, gets to stand up here, right? Like, and I get to transfer it to you guys. You know, that nervous stomach, whatever fucking bullshit that I had going on earlier, right? Like, that shit's come and gone, man. Because again, right, like God does for me what I can't do for myself, and that's the reason why, right, like I do the things that I do, I have the routine, I believe in what I believe in and all that other stuff, man, because like it hasn't let me down even when I didn't know it existed. How do I know? I don't fucking know, right? I don't fucking know. I came to believe Christmas Eve of 2019. I was 10 months clean. I was at my ex's house. My uncle gives me a phone call and he said, "Hey man, your mom's in the hospital. She's gonna take a turn for the worse, and I don't think she's gonna make it. You need to get the fuck down here now." Mind you, I'm bumping into shit. I don't fucking know, right? I just became an assistant house manager in sober living. That's a whole nother thing. I'll get into that right now because it's pretty fucking trippy. But all I knew is that I needed to go. My only reservation, man, was that my mom, was going to die and she wasn't going to be here, and that was my best friend, the only person that I ever had, right, in my life ever, and life was going to be over. I didn't know what to do. Couldn't see life past mom not being here. And Roxy and everybody in this company, they loved on me. They said, "Dude, don't even worry about it. You know what I mean? You still got a bed here. Do what you got to do. Be with mom." Okay. I'm there with family. "Oh, man, you look good. Okay, cool. Yeah, do. I got bitter baby mama talking about, when she passes, if your mom leaves you anything, I think your kids deserve a little bit of that." Fuck you, Jack. I don't even want to listen to you. Get the fuck out of my face. And as I'm sitting there next to my mom, and I tell her that I love her and I need her and I don't want her to go, she tells me I don't want to go either, and I tell her that I'm gonna be okay. No matter what, I'm gonna be okay. And they intubate her. They put a tube down her throat to try and help her breathe and figure stuff out. But man, she was an addict all the way up until the day that she died. Congestive heart failure, pacemaker, kidney function dropping, losing functionality in her organs and shit. And I sat there with her day in and day out, and there were two people that showed up for me. That was my sponsor and my sponsee brother at the time. I mean, he's with another sponsor out, and he's still doing good and whatnot. He's got a brother for life in here, but my sponsor and my sponsee brother, literally, people that I barely known, 10 months, not even 10 months. He was my sponsor for only a couple months because I had a guy that was an alumni from the treatment center that I went to that I asked because we had the same name, right? Like we loved the same football team, you know what I mean? And you know what I mean? And shit like that, you know what I mean? Like, fuck yeah, I can fuck with this dude, and he made me cry my first day in treatment. But again, I'm gonna get into that. But they showed up for me, man. The promises. And everything, man, that you hear when you go to meetings, and go to some real meetings. I'm not saying no meeting is not no real meeting or nothing like that, but I highly encourage you guys to get out of the area if you have an opportunity to do so, because there's a lot of recovery, a lot of love, a lot of unity, and a lot of good recovery or sobriety, right? Like elsewhere, and so. They showed up for me, man. They told me that they would show up for me. And again, I was bumping into shit. I didn't even know it existed. I just heard about it. I didn't get to experience it, right, until I did. I didn't know that it was a reality, that it was an actual thing. I had no way to believe, you know what I mean, or have faith in something that I haven't experienced yet. And my sponsor and my sponsee brother show up to the hospital when my mom was dying for me. They gave me a hug. They loved on me. My sponsee brother even spent the night there with me because he didn't have anything else to do anyway, too. And I was like, fuck yeah. And so that's when I came to believe, man, that a power greater than myself existed. That this program, right, it wasn't all facade, right? It wasn't all this cult bullshit, right, that you hear. I believed it at one point, momentarily, but it's not all that bullshit, man. You just got to stay long enough to be able to experience your experience. Don't leave until the miracle happens, and that's because the miracle is you, right? And everybody's miracles look different. right? Only you know what your miracles look like, and may not even know what your miracles look like. You just have to stay long enough to be able to experience that shit, to have that aha moment. And so how I got here, I get busted. I briefly told you guys this. I had a bright idea. I was in a fish game, a tap, illegal gambling house, whatever the fuck you want to call it, and tried to double up my money to be able to buy dope and give her flowers or whatever, and it got raided. Right, I get busted. I've been on the run. They have warrants. They finally catch me if you can. Well, guess what they did? And I was looking at 5 years upstate, man, and they conditionally released me to treatment. I waited about a week. About a week before I got, actually, they picked me up and took me to treatment. And I just so happened to land in treatment on a Friday, and that was when they have their own this alumni meeting, right, of their own, of Narcotics Anonymous. And I was introduced, to the fellowship, man. They told me where to go, what to do, how to act, and all this other stuff. And I was like, all right, cool, woo. I did everything wrong, right? They told me not to get in a relationship for the first 2 years. I did that in 20 days. Fuck you. I'll prove you wrong. Don't you know who I am? It's all right. Keep coming back. Needless to say, I graduated that treatment. They didn't have a sober living bed for me. I manipulated my mom one time again to co-sign and enable my shit because she was still alive at the time. I had her co-sign my shit to tell the treatment center that my ex-girlfriend was a very close friend of the family and that I could stay with them just so that I can satisfy the courts and show up on the date that they gave me. And I knew it was wrong. Mind you, I was with the chick, and now I'm going to live with that chick, right? There I go once again. But God does for me what I can't do for myself, and made her kick me out. Not even a week later, I show back up to the treatment center. The director there is very close in acquaintance, I guess, with a higher up that worked here, who was also an alumni from where I went to treatment at, and they pulled strings and got me here, and I've been here ever since. Now, I would like to sit there and say, well, I wouldn't like to say, but, again, should prove all the people wrong, right? Like, don't get in a relationship your first year of recovery, fuck you. That 20 days, right, like, lasted, that sunshine is that lady, right? But it's not. I royally fucked that up 3 years clean. Co-signed her shit. I co-signed her shit. I didn't know my feelings. I didn't know how to communicate. I didn't know what healthy boundaries were. I didn't know enough about self, right? And I found out the hard way why they tell you not to get into a relationship the first year, 2 years, whatever it is. Like, don't do it because you stunt your own growth. But God has a funny sense of humor, Put another lovely woman in my life, and I said, you know what, I can't do this anymore, and I'm just gonna go ahead and it's not, it's not me, it's you. For once, I said, it's not me, it is you, right? And didn't even get her a chance to self-correct or anything like that. You know what? Matt's done, and that's just the way it worked. But through fucking that relationship up, I was able to learn, right, like how to have a healthy relationship, right? I learned what not to do and how to be honest about it. You can ask Sunshine. I word vomit all the fucking time. How I feel. All the time. I don't know what I'm doing right now, but it's just my process. Bear with me. I apologize. I'm sorry. All this kind of craziness. Because I don't even know what I'm doing. All I know is that I don't want to feel the way that I felt. Right? If you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always got. If you get what you've always got, you're going to feel how you always felt. So nothing changes if nothing changes. If you know what I mean? If you want something different, you got to do something different. All my guys hear me say it all the time. You know, in order to be the best version of yourself, you got to do something different. And so, and that's what it is. I'm still a work in progress. I'm still trying to learn how to navigate like feelings of success and happiness and love. And, you know, I've learned and I felt it and I've been okay because I haven't used over it, but it still feels weird sometimes. Because I've always been the guy that's waits for the shoes to drop, the other shoe to drop. Too good to be true. It's only a matter of time before you fuck things up. And I'm blessed. Never thought I'd have a career. I've never completed school. And you know, this since being clean, I've completed college, or I have completed college courses. I have successfully obtained my certification to be a counselor. I am successfully engaged in actually participating in planning a wedding, something that I've always dreamed about but never thought that I would actually be able to do given my track record. The list goes on and on, you know. I get to be a mentor, right, I guess, of some sort, depending on the day, you know. You know, and I get to be a friend, I get to be a fiance, I get to be a brother, you know, I get to be an uncle, you know, God willing, whenever he sees fit, right, like I get to be a father again. I get to be employed, I get to be trusted, I get to be, you know, all the things that I've ever longed for, you know, I get to be those things today, but none of it would be possible without a conscious contact, right, like a higher power, in whatever I believe in, right, and this program. My life, right, like, is a direct result of me putting in the work. Nobody's going to work harder than you. Nobody is going to work harder than you. God's not going to work harder than you. I'm not going to work harder than you. Nobody's going to work harder than you, man. You know what I mean? You got to hold up your end of the bargain. You get out of it what you put into it, so good luck. At the end of the day, you're only cheating and lying to yourself, right? So the lack of feelings in your letters, right? That's you. That's not, you're not lying to me. You're not hurting me, right? Like the lack of feelings, and the events and the honesty and the truth, not only in your step work, right? Like, but in your letters, anytime you put pen to paper, in your prayers, whatever it is, right? Like the lack of, man, is on you. You know what I mean? You're selling yourself short, but that's okay because we're all still learning. I'm still learning. I barely, you know, started to figure out kind of how to do things with purpose, and I'm still not great at it, but that's okay. Right? Just know, man, that this shit takes work. I wish I could show you, right, like my basic text and show you all the wilted and weathered pages, right? But again, I'm not a perfect dude, man. You know what I mean? A lot of my books look still semi-new. I mean, I you know that, and you know what I mean? You can't sit on that fucking thing, you know, to gain all the information. You know, it's not an overnight, you know, blah, blah, all the shit, man, that you hear is true. You know, and I've learned the hard way. Most of it, I've learned the hard way because that's what I do. You know, but I'm sitting here, standing, actually, sorry, OCD, I wouldn't, ADHD, I'm sitting here in front of you. No, I'm standing in front of you, letting you know my experience that I have done it for you. Everything that I've lived, right? Everything that I've done, everything that I've experienced, right? Like all that shit, man, like I've done it for you, so that way you don't have to, right? That's part of this thing, right? Sharing my experience. Dude, I don't get into a relationship the first year. You know what I mean? This and that and third, A, B, and C, all that shit, man. Like I've done it for you so that way you don't have to. If you want to find out the hard way, you know what I mean? If you want to find out the way that we do, by all means, we'll still be here. I'm going to love you either way, you know? I fucking love Narcotics Anonymous. I really do, with my whole heart. It's introduced me to a life that beyond my wildest dreams. And I thought that was the corniest shit that I've ever heard. When I first, you know, some Disney fairy tale bullshit. Get out of here. You know what I mean? We're going to give you a life. If you wish upon a star. Fuck out of here. But I'm a believer, man, because I've experienced it. Don't rob yourself of your own experience. That's probably the best way that I can end this. Is do not rob yourself of this experience. Do not cheat yourself, right? If you fail to include something in any of your writings or in any of your doings on a daily basis, it is okay, because this is not the last time you're going to do it. There are more days to come, and there's more rounds of this life. This is a lifelong process. This is a marathon, not a race, right? Like, you're going to have plenty of opportunities to be able to get it right, learn from your mistakes, but all you have to do is not use. Do not take that first drug. Don't do it. Sorry, that was a fail. That was an epic fail. Do not take that first drug. Don't do it. All right, and the rest of it works, man. I will take the last few seconds not only to thank everybody in this room, whether you're coming back off of a relapse, whether this is your first time in treatment, whether this is your millionth time in treatment. If you've been here with me, if you came here after me or been here before me, I fucking love you guys to death. I really do. If I don't know you, I still love you. You know what I mean? Because our pain is the same. Yes. One addict helping another is without parallel. Just because we've experienced pain in other ways doesn't mean that it doesn't feel the same. And that's the way that I'm able to relate. That's the way any of us, all of us, could relate. Doesn't matter if you haven't been to jail or no tattoos or, haven't been here, haven't been there, haven't done this, haven't done that. It don't matter, man, because we all know what sadness, we all know what anger, we all know what frustration, pain, heartache, turmoil, all the fucking feelings, man, it all feels the same. Kevin's pain or Kevin's sadness doesn't feel different from Matt's sadness. Sadness is sadness, man. So stop looking at the differences and focus on the similarities. I know there's some people that couldn't be here, and that I hold near and dear to my heart. So Chris, Curtis, Lindsay, Baby Serenity, anybody that's watching at home that did not get to be here, I fucking love you guys to death. They are brothers and sisters that I get to have today, something that I've longed for. My wonderful fiance, right? Like Sean, Mr. Baker, Jesse, Joe, Tom, John, Isaiah, Miss Roxy, Nancy, Liz, like so many different people, man, that have been here to help me through this process, and all of you guys, man, all of you guys show me that that this shit works, and it ain't getting no better out there. So thank you for reminding me, right, like what's waiting for me, if I decide to use, dude, I there's a bunch of shit that I didn't fucking mention, but it comes with the territory. If you don't know Sean, everybody, Sean is probably the only dude that I have ever met since I've been clean that's known me, that's actually been with me on the street. I'm breaking anonymity. I don't give a shit. Because that's how deep this goes, man. I got a lot of love for that dude, and I'm super fucking proud of him. And this would not be possible, right? Like for some, if this wasn't possible for me. I'm grateful for the ability to be able to be present because I get to continue to help those in need. And never in a million years did I think that I would be selfless and all that good stuff to be able to continue to do that. I never thought in a million years that I'd be in the business of saving lives, but here I am, and I'm extremely grateful. So if you got something out of my share, cool. If you didn't, I apologized already, so you can't hold me to it. And just know that it's possible, man. I am here for each and every one of you, day in and day out. If I can, I will. That's something that's always been a part of me, and it will always continue to be my truth. And you may now exit stage left. This ride has come to a complete stop. Please watch your hands and feet and head while exiting the car. My name is Matt, and thank you for letting me share.
Thank you, Matt. Let's give Matt another round, man. Matthew, I love your pitch, man. I've heard it before. It's always different. And it's always true. You're a walking example of recovery. You've been an example for me, man. Thank you. All right. Moving on. We celebrate sobriety at this meeting. It's time to introduce our chip person, Michael T.
Hello, everybody. My name is Michael. I'm your alcoholic. I'm also an addict too. Here at Fred Brown Recovery Services, we like to celebrate various lengths of sobriety, starting with the most important person in the room, the newcomer. With anyone with 29 days or less, like to come up and get a chip and a hug. What's your name, brother? Brandon. Brandon. Preston. Anyone with 30 days of sobriety.
That's right.
I'm addict.
Anyone with 60 days.
That's right.
Thank you, sir.
Eric, alcoholic.
Anyone with 90 days of sobriety.
90. Oh, 90. Get it, somebody.
All right.
We're working on it.
What about 6 months? 9 months? 18 months? No one? All right. We also celebrate birthdays at this meeting, but we celebrate it at the very end of the month. Please get with the meeting secretary after the meeting if you'd like your birthday celebrated. Anyone with a year or more, please raise your hand.
Look in the back, you'll see them all.
Just goes to show that this program works. Thank you for letting me be of service.
Thank you, Michael, for being of service. I've asked Sean to give us a treasury report.
All right, Sean, I'm an alcoholic and an addict. All right, your meeting's supposed to be up here. All right, we had an old balance of $164.90. We took in $33 tonight, a whopping $33. All right, to leave us with a new balance of $197.90. All right, thank you for letting me do this.
Thank you, Mr. Sean. Thanks to everyone who made this meeting happen, including our readers, people of service, and our guest speakers. And our meeting is now open. For those of you who would like to share, please keep your shares to 2 minutes or less to ensure there's time for everyone. Oh, is it it's time? Never mind, no sharing. Call your sponsor. Oh, Jesse, get up here, man. Tell us what's true.
All right, I'm Jesse, recovering alcoholic addict. I want to thank Matt. I mean, there's a lot of people with Fred Brown that basically allow everybody I work with is like I consider family. And I'm just proud of him. I think it was a great, speech that he had and giving us his experience. And yeah, I just want to thank Fred Brown because I was thinking like I got a wedding coming up too, and it's like sad to like at my wedding, my family's I'm gonna have like one person from my family, and I'm okay with that. It's like, I'm not gonna lie, it is sad, like deep down, but most of my family, Fred Brown's gonna be there, so I'm grateful for this program, the way it's changed me. I got similarities with Matt. I feel like I got that ADHD and stuff like that, and anxiety, and
the thoughts in my mind, and like, oh, I'm the hardest critic of myself. Sometimes too hard, but you guys know, most of you know, I believe in Jesus Christ, and from what I read, He's merciful, He's forgiving, He's He's the God that I chose to follow, and I gotta just remember who He is, and not the old me that still lingers within, but I don't fuel it as much as I used to before I worked these steps. Because you got to remember, the reason why we're in these rooms is because of our will, and you're supposed to live out God's will, and that's where the transformation happens. So, I just wanted to show love to Fred Brown and Matt, and just thank you guys for everything you do. That's it. Yeah.
All right, Jesse. So we need volunteers, right? Yes. All right, so anybody willing to volunteer to help with the cleanup, I'm assuming? Yes. All right. We got trash. We got 3. All right. 4. Cool. Thank you. All right, it's now time to wrap up the meeting. Thank you all for coming, support our recovery. And I've asked Dalton to read Just for Today.
Dalton! Please have a seat. Meeting's still going on.
Apparently I'm Dolphin. Addict. Just for today, my thoughts will be on my recovery, living and enjoying life without the use of drugs. Just for today, I will have faith in someone in NA who believes in me and wants to help me in my recovery. Just for today, I will have a program I will try to follow to the best of my ability. Just for today, through NA, I will try to get a better perspective on my life. Just for today, I will be unafraid. My thoughts will be on my new associations, people who are not using and who have found a new way of life. So long as I follow that way, I have nothing to fear.
Thank you, Dalton. After a moment of silence for an addict who still suffers, will Scott lead us out in a prayer of his choice.
All right, let's link up. Put this over there, John.
Many acts have said,
take my will in my life, guide me in my recovery, show me how to live.